How can we make a rainy day like this more pleasant? Well, for you, staying in your living room and putting Autogefuehl episode in full HD, full screen and full length. And for me, well, just using the time and driving a convertible. So a very unusual review here for you today with the VW T-Roc convertible. It has been done before, but since the Range Rover Evoque Cabriolet is now from the market, this one is the only SUV convertible on the market here right now, and the first time in the non-premium segment. There are hardly any, somewhat affordable cabriolets on the market anymore. This is now a new one with a very special concept, and in this episode we are going to find out SUV and convertible, and in this respect, for this really car, does that work? Does it make sense? We'll find out. Exterior, interior and the driving experience. Already told you the catchphrase earlier, so now let's go. Here in the front now we can see there's this honeycomb structure in the front and also in the lower front. Interesting silver contrast. The LED daytime running lights are right here. The lower part is a beautiful way. Also full LED headlamps are available for the main headlamp unit. I've got a beautiful blue color here for you today. And I mean, it's always unpleasant to film in rainy conditions, yes, but the cars look so great then with the raindrops all over the paint. That's of course awesome then for you. Not quite pleasant for me, but yeah, sadly the driving event was scheduled for sunny Mallorca, but due to the virus it was cancelled, so we have to do it in rainy Germany at the moment, and just rainy days at the moment, so rain it is. But it's also a challenge, of course, for the drivetrain. There's no all-wheel drive available for this one here, just front-wheel drive only, and of course, well, driving with open top in the rain, is that possible? We'll find out later. This will be so much fun today, I can promise you, still, even though the weather. The length is at 4.27 meters, 14 foot or 168 inches. So 4 centimeters or 1/2 inches longer wheelbase than the coupe of the T-Roc. They do that because they have the convertible roof stored right here, and then of course the space for the rear passengers should not be that limited, so they put the wheelbase a little bit longer. That's nowadays possible with these platform concepts vehicles. So you can see here a Thomas blue color here, very beautiful and fitting, of course, would be my favorite color. They don't call it Thomas blue, sadly. But you see at the moment closed top, we will soon open it for you. Black roof here and 17-inch wheels, 18 and 19 are also available. They look sportier than here, also with winter tires. They give you more comfort, however. Don't look that fancy, but I think it still works with the look. Of course, a sports car convertible looks somewhat cooler and fancier. But I mean, it doesn't look too different than from the coupe, because they could keep this roofline here more or less with these new convertible roofs. Crossover cladding right there. Suspension wise, you can get a normal fixed suspension, a sports fixed suspension, which will be quite stiff. And then also Dcc dynamic chassis control, the adaptive suspension, which we also have inbuilt here. Let's see out how that one plays with the comfort today. And now opening and closing. It works up to a speed of 30 kilometers an hour. We'll soon also test that in real road driving, of course, for you. And opening is about just under 9 seconds. Please compare it in the time code below. And closing should be a little bit slower, but again, we can check the original time codes now when we do the live test. This will be very interesting, so frequent subscribers can also put the opening and closing time right there in the comments. And then there's also this button here to lower or close all windows at the very same time, like this. And when we just open it once again, I can also do that with the open top. And I want to know from you guys what you think. How does it look better with closed top or with open top? Of course, that's always somehow different and always somehow special. So now also putting down the windows for you here, and here we are. And I think pretty cool concept. Love the soft top, brings down the weight or doesn't add some additional hard top weight, less space it stores, and of course you can also open and close it while driving. And here you have the proper wind deflector mount. This is making a huge difference. And now to the rear here with the LED signature. There's also the separate wing here to make it a little bit sportier looking. And the lower part, actually, yeah, you have this fake exhaust graphic. I think we could have lived without that. Real exhaust is then underneath. By the way, you can also open or close the convertible top here with the key. The secret to that is, usually it's just like holding the opening or closing button, but here click once and then twice, you know, and then hold it, and then it actually does work. So that's the trick to do that. And you have to be close to the vehicle, so you cannot be too far away, you know, for safety reasons, like this. And also then again here, when you are with the button once and twice, so click once and then hold, and then it also works. So for a cool show effect when you're in front of the vegan ice cream parlor. So now it stopped. I was holding the key too far away, so I had to go with it again. There we are. So that's of course always pretty cool. What about this wind deflector? Again, it's really very useful, and it's easy to install and deinstall. You put this one up, and then you can actually, you know, have to lift the head restraints up first, and then you can flip it like this and put it out. And there's a good storage then also in the trunk for that. And you can see these mounts here, they are at both sides, so you have to find them right here, also at the other side. I mean, easier to do it with two people, but also you see here, not too hard to do it alone. And then you put these restraints down once again. As for engines, there's not so much choice as for the normal coupe version. Here you either have a 1-liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine with 115 horsepower and a 6-speed manual, or this one here today, the 1.5-liter turbo petrol engine with 150 horsepower, either also the manual gearbox, or today here also 7-speed DSG and all front-wheel drive. Interior now really interesting with the blue deco element. Sadly, this is then hardback here in the top part. That's the only thing to criticize. Compact steering wheel, digital instruments, soon more deals to that. Then we have beautiful fabric seats. And should you wonder, fabric seats in a convertible? Yes, that perfectly works because they stay cool in summer and they're not too cold in winter times. And I mean, if they get wet like now, it's no problem. They dry out again when you just drive open top or closed top with the AC on, so that's no problem. And about stains and so on, well, in my convertible life there was no bird ever pooing in my open convertible, so it never happened to me so far. And the advantage of the fabric seat in climate comfort are just too good then not to have them. And meanwhile they're also quite durable, and there are also, you know, possibilities to clean them if something ever happens to that. So getting inside here is of course fairly easy, and this is the cool thing about this vehicle. You have an SUV convertible, you have a more upright seating position, the seating position itself is very comfortable, and you have a better round view. So I think already from the seating position, it shows you that this concept here of combining compact SUV with convertible does somehow make sense if you want a soft, comfortable driving experience with the convertible. Here again, first look at the steering wheel, how can we adjust it, and the seats here in this case then also manual, but electrical lumbar support if you like, and also the back part here is manual. Taking a look at the interior here, we have the corresponding blue interior styling here to the exterior color. You can also get different deco elements if that's not your thing. Steering wheel quite compact, good to control. You can also adjust it in, out and up and down like this. Manual control. Sadly here, top part is hardpack, also inside of the doors. That should be better even at this price point, even if we're not in a super premium segment. See here, everything is straightforward to use. Manual climate units, soon more to that. On the left side you start with analog instruments, optional these 11.7 digital instruments. On the right side you either have a 6.5 inch screen or this bigger 8 inch screen, but still it has in the manual volume knob and also a knob here to zoom in and out in the map. I think it's also better than having no buttons at all, because they actually come quite handy, I think. Glove box, by the way, there's some space inside, why not? Steering wheel here, left side for the adaptive cruise control and controlling the volume. Right side to change the views in the digital instruments or to skip the next track in the music player. And here we are with the digital instruments, a clear view, and you can also change the views, for example, that you have a little bit more space depending on what you want to have. There we go, also other contents in the middle and so on. So this is all possible. It's actually quite easy to use. Close up here on the lower climate unit, easy to control, good to have the normal knobs here, and then here for the steering wheel heating and the seat heating, both at the same button. They can control what you want to do with it in the screen. Here then for the vent strength and so on. Actually pretty easy and straightforward to use. And this is here the mode button for the DCC for the adaptive suspension. And here it goes in the screen, either when you have the DCC, then you can pick the driving modes, suspension will get stiffer, steering will give you a little more feedback and so on. And then when you have here an activate or deactivate the steering wheel heating, yeah, there we go. That's possible, and or the levels of the seat heating, but it's also able to do that with a button in the lower part. So you can also decide if you want to have just one thing, activated at the same time or both at the same time. Now the infotainment up close also has this gesture function here for the main menu, but not sure if it's really that helpful actually. GPS looks like this. So you have this, let's say, shortcut from the last destinations you've picked, and then you can just click them. And then let's also take a look at the normal map, zoom in and out, works quite quickly. Also you can do that here with this zoom knob. This is also quite handy while driving actually. So pretty clear, crisp, and also straightforward. What about the app view? This is the Apple CarPlay, also available in a wireless function. Other than that, Android Auto also available, uses all of the screen. And as for sound system, it's actually this 400 watts 12 speaker optional Beats sound system, and it's actually quite good, quite bass heavy, so you maybe should just neutral it also with the subwoofer and so on. Not the best sound ever, but actually quite decent. And that you also have hotkeys here for different functions. Also here the car menu is interesting to see the visualizations of the car. And they don't keep the color quite, but I mean, yeah, I think that's still okay. Here in selections you can also pick some options for the digital cockpit, for example, so even more options you can put in right here. And we also have the rear view camera, because the visibility is also a little bit restricted. It's good to have that, definitely. And you see here on the left side, the helping lights also adapt a little bit, see where you're actually going from this fake drone view from above for the PDC. But then the normal rear view camera is of course the more helpful thing, and it's actually a quite okay resolution, and it's hidden in this flipped logo in the rear. Lower part, 2 USB-C chargers and also inductive charging platform. That can make sense because the Apple CarPlay is also available wirelessly. Here the DSG shifting lever. Then in the lower console you have cup holders. I have my garage beep here at the moment, but they are not adaptive. Maybe not the best solution here. And then there's this armrest, nice fabric cover you can put up, and some reasonable space underneath. Put the smartphone here at the moment that we didn't have so much clutter in the front. And 2 central buttons for the convertible, the rear one to open or close all 4 windows at the same time, and the front one to open the roof. However, to open it you have to press, and to close pull. To me that's not a real logical thing, but maybe it's a safety thing or something. Interesting, by the way, here in the ceiling, so there's this new mandatory SOS button which you only press when you are in like an accident situations and so on. And here, this middle button here, since you wonder, so if you deactivate that, this is for the lights, so if you activate it, then as soon as you open the door, the lights automatically go on. So this digitalizes this so far manual button you usually have on the top right there. Well, you flip the seat here, then you can push it forward and can get in easy. That's of course a little bit simpler when you have the roof opened. And I mean, when I would be driving like this, I do not exactly fit, but it would work with 3 tall adults when the co-driver seat is pushed a little bit more to the front. And here, when I'm driving, if I would be sitting a little bit closer to the steering wheel, so You see, you have some possibilities, yes, not thought out to be, you know, for 4 tall adults all the time long trip, but for shorter trips, it's still somewhat okay. Isofix on the outside, that's possible. And we will also able to flip the seats then from the rear. And pretty cool, you have USB-C chargers here also for the rear. Well, what about the trunk? You flip the logo and then you have already bigger than with the Range Rover Evoque convertible, and the length here would be 84 centimeters, the lower length just 75, and the width right here is normally just about a meter, and the height here, total height, is about 55 centimeters. So it's all fine. You just have this, you know, massive loading sill. Below this cover you have exact storage for the wind deflector, so you can put it directly designed to fit in right there. And then we can also flip the seats from here. See here, they fold directly like this, and so there's a more narrow opening here, but then if you load things through to the front seats, you really have 1.55 meters, and that's actually pretty decent, so can't complain about that. And what about when I put some luggage in here? So you see that works for a cabin trolley like this, even in a vertical way. So I mean, there are of course more abundant trunks on the automotive market, but considering it's a convertible, I think not too bad. By the way, when the seats are flipped, you can also do that to protect your seats in the rear. Then you could even put some more bags on it just from the passenger compartment. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the VW T-Roc Cabriolet, and yeah, usually we would be on Mallorca on that driving event, but that was cancelled due to the virus, so we're here in Germany and it's raining. But the thing is, as I told you initially, as California, UK and Germany are the main cabriolet markets, this is also a very realistic test. And if you're a true convertible fan, you drive in every kind of weather. And yeah, at the moment it is raining just a little bit, and now the rain is coming a little bit inside. But as a true convertible fan, you don't care. And if it would be even colder, you would just wear a beanie. Also got one just right here in case I need it. That's how you do it. And the thing is, also a rule among true convertible fans, when it's raining inside the convertible, you're just not driving fast enough. Because, you know, when it's like this at the moment, so it's, yeah, it is raining a little bit outside, but I'm basically pushing the rain with the front windscreen, you know, so I'm too fast for the rain. So at the moment it's dry inside here as long as we're not stopping. So when we're taking the next traffic light, like, don't go to red, don't go to red, just keep driving, keep driving. So about 50 kilometers an hour is actually enough. Oh no, traffic light jumps to red, but we're just rolling out now. And I do have the wind deflector mounted here, you can see that. And that is helping really a lot. So it's actually, you know, hardly any wind is coming here at about 50 kilometers an hour. It's really silent, you know, as for everything which is not, you know, convertible related. So we'll also see how that one plays out when we drive a little bit faster very soon. And of course, I'm also like the show on the road now. Everyone's watching like, why is this lunatic driving a convertible in the rain? And also having 2 cameras mounted. I must be thinking like, what's going on there? But I mean, you know, some guys of course don't recognize us when we're driving along. Then they know what we're doing actually. And here we're lucky enough not to be standing still too much. And we also want to find out, since we have the DSG mounted here together with the 1.5 liter TSI, this turbo petrol engine, what about this stuttering effect that was actually, you know, annoying a lot of the customers from the early building stages of this engine together with the DSG. Volkswagen told us that they installed an update. Also, existing customer can get this update at the dealers. It's a software update which should prevent that. And you know, so far I did not notice any bad behavior from the dual clutch transmission. We'll see. You know, we'll keep you updated about that. The advantage of this is, of the DSG here in comparison to the manual gearbox, it's just so relaxing to drive indeed, and very smoothly shifting up and down the gears, really cool. And especially when you are stuck in traffic situations and so on, I would go for that. I mean, you're also okay, of course, with the manual gearbox if you want to save some money, but automatic transmission is, of course, always more relaxing. I would also go for it. This is a relaxing convertible, and the thing is, I can already say right now, the concept of combining this compact SUV with convertible, with being a cabriolet, it's really awesome. So, yes, a sporty convertible does look better from the outside, no doubt about that. But I mean, at the moment here, I mean, even if it's raining, it's not a pleasant day at all. It's dark, it's rainy, we have about like 8.5 degrees Celsius. But still, I'm totally enjoying this ride, and it's comfortable, you know? So I have more light than I would usually have in a closed vehicle. I can still drive with the open top when it's not raining too hard. That still works. You see, staying relatively dry. And the thing is, I'm sitting a little bit higher than I would be sitting in a sports convertible. It's more comfortable, I have more view, you know, I can enjoy nature a little bit more, you know, all the impressions you get from the outside here when you're driving along. The option Dcc, which is built in here, so you can get the base suspension and the sport suspension, both fixed, or the Dcc, the dynamic chassis control, which is the adaptive suspension. It's doing a phenomenal job. So I can leave it here in the normal driving mode and have a lot of comfort. All the bumps are even out very well. Also being like, you know, leaving convertible aspect aside, you know, recently had the Kia X-Ceed review. I still have that vehicle at the moment as a comparison. So X-Ceed and T-Roc in general are, of course, competitors. The X-Ceed is a very, very good car, as we recently presented to you, and has a lot of strength. For example, better in the X-Ceed, we have soft touch at the inside of the doors. Yet again, for example, suspension-wise, that's also what I mentioned earlier, the T-Roc is better with this Dcc, because here you can get an adaptive suspension, and then it's just evening out the potholes better, and at the same time it's more dynamic, and of course you can pick the different driving modes and then just pick your suspension behavior. So suspension-wise, this one here among the best in the compact segment overall. So, and you know, it depends on the brand and the vehicle if it's really making sense to go for an adaptive suspension. Sometimes the difference in comfort are minor. Sometimes, and it's especially with the VW group cars, so also if you think about Seat, Skoda and Audi, you should always pick the adaptive suspension, because the amount of comfort you gain with it, and also acoustic comfort from the rear axle, is really significant. So that's an option I would definitely go for. So I'm really enjoying this ride here. Steering is, by the way, very light. It doesn't feel like, let's say, most natural, but it doesn't have any dead zone. It's very light to, you know, be able to steer in the city. So that's pretty cool. There is this Dcc Mode button here. When I go to the sports mode, for example, there's a little bit more resistance in the steering wheel. I can also go to this individual mode and then, for example, just tune the steering a little bit different. So if you say you want to have the comfortable suspension, but yet again a more, you know, more resistance in the steering, you can go for that. And that's actually pretty cool. So I'll stick it with the comfort mode here still. When we go to the motorway, I'll put it in sports mode. And we can also show you something of the acceleration. Now also going downhill, when it's shifting down the gears, no stuttering from the DSG so far. We'll see when we approach the next traffic light. Here very well controlled to be able to control in the corner. And again, this wind deflector is everything, you know, with all convertibles, a proper big wind deflector. And you know, there are these new systems by Mercedes, you know, with this air cap system and so on. I mean, they try to replace a classic wind deflector that you can easily change, you know, people in the back. That here you always have to manually install and deinstall it. Yeah, that's a little bit of work, but there's no replacement in, you know, better wind features than having this classic wind deflector thing. So riding with open top here is really, really awesome. And you know, what I want to try is, I mean, we should have both, right? Driving on motorway with open top and closed top, right? that would be interesting. So let's just do that, guys. So I'm going to the sports mode now, also for some acceleration. Rain is picking up just a little bit now. The camera is still dry. So now we're going open top, 50 kilometers, sports mode to, I think we can go to 80 here. Let's go. Plop, that is all, yeah, well, it was already 87. So you see that went quick enough. This turbo gives me enough boost, and here at about 80 kilometers an hour I can very well cruise with the open top. So that's no problem at all. I think when this construction site here is over, I can also go to 100, and then we can find out if this cruising speed would be okay as well. What we also have here is the ACC. I can activate it here on the steering wheel. That's the adaptive cruise control, setting the speed here with my left thumb, and then the speed is also adapted to the vehicle in front of me. Lane keeping assist is in here, of course. I won't test it here inside this construction site, but can I? Let's see, now I'm alone here. That's actually also realizing that the side lines here in yellow, usually they're better with the white lines. And you see, also keeping me centralized. I'm keeping my hands on the steering wheel, but I'm not doing anything, you know. Yeah, but now it says overtake steering. So you see, it also keeps me actively in a lane. That's good, actually. So also good for motorway cruising here. So I don't miss anything that I would have from the T-Roc Coupe, actually. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's raining, 80 kilometers an hour, below 10 degrees Celsius. All is fine here, all good. Just awesome, you know. And again, what a shitty day it is actually today. And I'm still enjoying this ride. And that's what's making it so special to have a convertible, and especially this SUV convertible. You know, when I would be in like a Mazda MX-5 or something, yeah, I would have more sporty fun, more driving fun, more agility and so on. But then again, I would have less comfort. So you always have to think about that, and it's basically a trade-off. So if you want more comfort, this is definitely something you can go for. So let's go back to the comfort mode as well here to give a little bit more suspension. Some raindrops are getting inside, but I mean, I'm driving again fast enough for that. So now the construction site is getting, it's getting cancelled. And let's accelerate to 100, a little bit uphill. Hitting it full throttle, and that's it already. So see, enough power also from this 1.5. And you know, it's getting quite windy in here now at 100, and I mean, it's a wet road. There was also even louder. But look at my hairs, which are relatively still and steady. So 100 kilometers an hour is an absolute fine, commuting speed here on the motorway with this car. Still keep it on the left lane, and I don't get roosted from this rain in front of me. And of course, we want to drive back a little bit on the motorway with closed top and see how that is, how that is rated. But again, this is an all-season convertible. We can already prove that. So actually, pretty amazed, you know. So very, very cool. So let's get off the motorway here now. Yeah, everything is still quite dry in here. It's really astonishing, really astonishing. The wind deflector got a little bit of rain. So getting off here, also at higher speeds, the car is very stable to control. This car offers a very neutral and balanced handling. So let's close the top right here. Yeah, that works also with the camera. And it's, quite quickly. So I think closing was a little bit slower than opening it was. I could also roll during that, so it's not really needed that I need to stand still. This red traffic light phase was a good, opportunity to do that right now. Now we drive with closed top. Oh, and we hear that, the drops on the roof. So we really know how hard it is raining outside, actually. So it was actually a good decision to do that right now. Front wheel drive only, by the way, but since we don't have so much power, it's also okay. You don't, really miss the all-wheel drive here, which you could optionally go for with the Coupe. They wanted to keep the price low and also the model lineup a little bit simple, so they're only offering these two different engines, a 1 liter TSI 3-cylinder and this 1.5 liter TSI 4-cylinder. This one then also optional with the automatic gearbox we have here, and so far, again, satisfied with it. It seems that the software updates or the newer versions, I mean, I can't really say that when they do the software update of existing engines of that it has the same effect than it would be the very, the latest build of that, which is having this software from Works. Maybe that's still a difference. I don't know. Can't really prove that. But so far, no problems here. I'll also keep you updated when I experience any more problems, maybe after recording here or something. Yeah, let's see about that. But here again, good drive. I think the engine is actually very suitable to the car. Would the 1 liter 3-cylinder also be enough? Good question. Good question. The car is not heavy, so it can actually be enough when you don't really push it, and when you really want to save some money, are happy with the manual gearbox. It also has a turbo. When you have the budget, I would advise you to go for the 1.5 because you don't need to run it at so high RPMs and so on, So that's a little bit more relaxing, so to say. Now at 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour with closed top, and again, there are the raindrops you maybe also hear now on the recording on the camera, but this roof has a very good insulation, multiple insulation layers, and it's really very silent in here. That's pretty cool. So if that would be any concern to you, not going for the Coupe, I think that's absolutely fine. Usually with nowadays very well built convertible tops, the differences are rather when you go in like 140, 160 kilometers an hour. And the question is, how often are you doing that? And then there's this special car, so that would not be, a real deciding factor to me, actually. So also here with closed top, pretty cool. Now also this sailing is, by the way, activated. So this DSG says Freilauf here in German. Very interesting. Oh, I did this mistake just recently because they changed it here with the yellow lines. Now I'm going to another braking maneuver. Again, very smooth and neutral handling with this vehicle. See also when I'm rolling, actual 2-cylinder mode, so cylinder deactivation. It says 2-cylinder mode, and most of the time 0 consumption when I'm just rolling. Yeah, traffic light turns red, the CC. Any stuttering? No, that was fine again, So that was a, also smooth stopping process. No problem at all. It seems to be that in these newer versions, it is actually fixed. Now, let's say you're really cold in winter, and I mean, there are some convertible days in winter, for example, like it's sunny, but very cold, for example. And then you can activate seat heating and also the heated steering wheel. That's of course an awesome function. It is one button here actually, as I showed you earlier, together, and then when you hit it again, you control the level of the seat heating. And you can also, that in the screen, deactivate the steering wheel heating if that's not something for you. And off, and say, yeah, that would be the thing, when I just activate the steering wheel heating. That's also possible. And actually, quite a lot of times, that's actually what I do. So, quite often I have like cold fingers, but everything else is fine. So, sometimes I just activate the steering wheel heating, and that's actually it. So, and yeah, just cruise control 50 and so on, and that would be, also comparable when you're driving like 80, 90 kilometers an hour, like 60 miles an hour or something. This is a region where a combustion engine is most efficient, and then usually we end up with about 7 liters on 100 kilometers as fuel economy. And when you're really keeping it cruise control steady in less city driving, then you can also score some better economy figures. Then again, when you really push this car here high speed, then you're really exceeding it. So At the end of the conclusion, I will also give you another update when I finish my ride here today. What about the realistic fuel economy figure when we're driving rather steady? Because usually we want to state this figure to see what would be one of the, let's say, minimum consumption figures, and then you go higher, of course, when you have really pushing it, more city traffic and so on. Now let's try to open it while driving at 30. That works. So 30 kilometers does work, and here we are again. Also opening it while driving. That's so much fun. Really amazing, and we have a lot of light here in the interior once again. Really awesome. Let's try to close it again. Let's see, because effective test is always good. At 35, speed to high. So limit here is the 30 kilometers an hour. There are convertibles which have this 50 kilometers an hour limit. But I think with 30 you can easily live with that. So no problem at all. Sometimes when you get a little bit slower and then just roll, absolutely fine with me. So very interesting ride here today. Tell me your comments about this driving experience. And now to our conclusion for today with the Volkswagen T-Roc Cabriolet. Does this concept work? Yes, and totally. Really surprised. It does make a lot of sense, because not everyone wants to go for a sporty convertible. Yes, sporty driving is fun, and this one still offers some agile driving feeling because it's a very neutral handling, a very good platform. It's not too heavy as for the weight, but it just delivers you more comfort with this upright seating position, and it's just so much fun to drive, sitting a little bit more upright. You can enjoy more of the nature impressions and so on. To me, it totally makes sense actually for more convertible fans than actually it would be for the sporty driving, I think. Well, having both is of course pretty cool, maybe like with the MX-5 Miata and T-Roc convertible in the garage, if you can afford that. But again, this is also a good point. Hardly any more non-premium convertibles on the market. So Audi, Mercedes, BMW offer a lot, but everyone else, hardly any left on the market. So it's very good to have this new offering then here on the market. Exterior, it looks kind of fresh, not too different from the coupe version. Yes, of course, it doesn't look the sportiest and the coolest if you compare it to a very sporty convertible. That's clear. 17-inch wheels here, by the way, today is very good for comfortable riding, and it was a very comfortable ride. Not too soft or something, but the DCC, the adaptive suspension, did a great job. And again, 17-inch wheels is the choice for the most comfortable ride, and it doesn't look too bad at all. It doesn't look super sporty at all, so I think you can also live with 17-inch. If you want a sporty look, you can also go with 18 or 19-inch wheels. Then again, maybe losing some of the comfort because of less tire. But then again, adaptive suspension might also even that out just a little bit. And interior-wise, we see a very good build quality, and everything is rather straightforward and easy to use. Yeah, with the exception that we could have wished for some soft touch material here at the inside of the doors. It's not, processed in a bad way, but just that there would be soft touch material. I think we can expect it also here from this price. Yeah, they want to keep the price low a little bit, but I think this is something still that Volkswagen should actually have or offer. Other than that, I think it's a very good and functional interior, and also very comfortable as for the seats. Again, the fabric seats are also the way to go for, even though it's a convertible. It stays cool in summer and also is not too cold in winter times. So really awesome choice here, also with the styling and so on. So actually, I would pick the car exactly as we have it here at the moment. Also with the 1.5 TSI, there were no stuttering problems or whatsoever here in combination with the DSG gearbox, and the power is really sufficient and already there. Of course, very relaxing with the automatic gearbox to have. You could go for the smaller engine if you want to save some money. And then sometimes you have to push it a little bit more, especially when you want to go some overtaking maneuvers on the motorway and so on. But if you have a little bit more budget over, then the 1.5 TSI will be a little bit more calm to drive. And you can drive it open top all the time. yeah, even though also when it's raining, at least when it's not too harsh in the rain, and even, you know, 100 kilometers open top is no problem, especially when you have this big wind deflector mounted right there. So overall, I think a really awesome vehicle. I just love the concept. It stands for a lot of driving fun and just, you know, like some automotive enjoyment. By the way, a fuel economy figure, a realistic one would be 7 liters on 1 kilometers, 34 mpg US, or about 41 mpg UK. So, what do you think, guys? Tell me your comments about the VW T-Roc convertible, and also see you next time.